Hello all, welcome to Applications Manager's free training series. Today marks the part 3 of a free training series on digital experience monitoring. Now let's take a look at the agenda for today. Now in the digital era, most enterprises use a web platform to reach the potential customers and showcase the product and solutions that they offer. Websites have become extremely popular as a medium of establishing a brand image and they contribute to making a major share of the revenue. Well-planned websites can capture the attention of the right target audience, increase the probability of turning them into valuable paying customers. Now, whether you deliver a smooth user experience for your customers or not depends on the performance of your website. So this is exactly what we are going to be discussing today. First and foremost, we'll discuss how we can measure website performance and changes in real time. Then we'll talk about how we can proactively identify and resolve potential user impacting issues through synthetic monitoring, followed by how we can analyze real user behavior patterns to gain insights into front-end performance. And lastly, we'll discuss how you can enhance web page performance to safeguard your brand reputation. Let's get started with the first topic for the day, which is measuring website performance and changes in real time. According to an article published in browserstack.com, 47% of the consumers expect a website to load in 2 seconds or less. In fact, 40% of people abandon a website that takes more than 3 seconds to load. Moreover, even a 1 second delay in page response can result in 7% reduction in conversions. Now, if a website is unavailable or has poor responsiveness, end users won't be able to engage with your website pages or wouldn't want to wait for them to load, which can have a significant impact on your business reputation. Therefore, to ensure the effectiveness of your site, avoid any performance hiccups, and create seamless digital experience for users, website performance monitoring is essential. Not only does it provide insight into your website's availability, but it also gives you an understanding of critical metrics of your website so that you can work on improving its reliability and make it work optimally. Now, the first step in a digital experience is the interaction with the user, right? So when a user tries to access a particular website, it needs to be available. Website downtime and slowness are major causes of concern for businesses. Frequent downtimes and slowness can make your site lose credibility among your loyal customers as well as create a very bad first impression for first-time visitors. So what exactly causes this website slowness and downtime? First and foremost, we have scheduled maintenance. Now, a scheduled maintenance is a temporary period in which a site or an app is made offline for updates, backup, as well as maintenance. The second problem that we have is data center problems or server errors. Now, if there is a data center problem or a server error, the request from the user may not even reach the server. Thirdly, we have bugs in the code. Now, these bugs may cause errors and prevent the site from not loading or might cause slow loading. Fourthly, we have high traffic. Now, if too many people are accessing your website at the same time, the website might not be able to handle that kind of a load. Fifthly, we have hacking attempts. Now, hackers try to pull any suspicious activity on your sites, and it can cause your site to go down or become slow. Lastly, in case your SSL certificate expires, that might cause issues among the users, and they may not be able to trust your site anymore. To prevent problems like this, you can use Applications Manager's URL Monitor. Now, this will help you ensure 24/7 website availability. Now, this URL Monitor acts as a continuous URL monitoring service that keeps a constant watch on a specific URL or a web page. It helps verify the availability of specified, addressable, standard HTTP and HTTPS URLs. It will also help you get instant notifications whenever your site is down. You'll also be able to validate HTTP requests and track website response time along with splitters such as DNS time, connection time, first byte time, and last byte time. Now, the response time of a website determines the speed of the website, right? Response time is slow. It takes longer for your website to connect and send data packets to the browser of an end user. Now, a website without latency can have a good impression on customers and can also help lower the bounce rates too. Now, with our URL monitor, you will be able to understand your website's first response time along with its last byte time, DNS time, connection time, and so on. Now, this will be a very strong indicator of how fast your website is performing to the particular end user. Then you'll also be able to quickly diagnose the root cause of issues and do detailed content checks to ensure the availability of your URLs. Now let's move on to the UI to see how this works. So under New Monitor, click Add New Monitor and click Web Server or Services. So here, as you can see, we have HTTP URL as well as URL sequence monitor. Now this particular monitor is for one single URL, whereas URL sequence monitor will help you monitor a sequence of URLs. Here you can give the display name. And you can also give the URL address. Provide the polling interval as well as a timeout. So here you will also be able to view the form submission method, which is either post or get. In case you choose post, you'll also need to specify the payload type, whether it's form, text, XML, or JSON. You can also specify the request parameters, if any. Then you can also specify the basic or NTLM or authentication. You can either choose a credential of your choice, or you can select from the list of credentials that you already have. You can also choose SAML or ADFS authentication. So here you can add a new SAML authenticator. Now to do that, you will need to provide your service provider details as well as Active Directory Federation services details. Service provider details, you will need to give your display name, your redirect URL, which is the URL address of the service provider, which upon accessing will create your SAML request and redirect to ADFS for further authentication. Then you'll also need to provide your form submission method along with custom HTTP headers and the SSL version of your choice. In case you want to perform form redirect, you can enable this option, and you'll also have to select which request binding you're choosing, whether you want to redirect or you want to select post. You can also specify the form name here. Then when it comes to Active Directory Federation service details, you will need to provide the sign-in URL of your ADFS along with the ADFS user credential, which could be used to log into the service provider. Then you'll also have to provide the username and password identifier of your ADFS sign-in page. And you'll also have to provide the response binding used by the ADFS to return the SAML response, whether it's direct or post again. Then finally, you will need to provide your ACS URL, which is your assertion customer service URL of your service provider. So once you provide all of these details, you'll be able to add this into your credentials here. So once that is done, you will need to specify the conditions for the response code. So in case you want to receive an error, if the response code is greater than, equal to, or less than or equal to a particular value, you can specify the same here. You can also provide the user agent details along with the custom HTTPS headers here. And in case you've enabled any SSL version, you can specify the version for the same here. So in case you require client certificate authentication, you can enable this option and choose to upload that particular certificate. So in case your client certificate has a password, you can also provide the same here. Finally, you'll also be able to do content checks with the help of a URL monitor. So in case you have a specific content or a word or a phrase that you want your URL to have, or you do not want your URL to have, you can specify the same here. And you can also do a case sensitive keyword search. So once you're done giving all of these details, you can associate it with a particular monitor group of your choice and click add URL monitor. Now I've already added a URL monitor for you here. Let me quickly show you how it works. So this is how the page looks like. You'll be able to view monitor information such as the health, availability of the particular URL monitor, the request method that we have used, the polling intervals, etc. Apart from that, you'll also be able to view the response time split tip along with the average response time, current response time, DNS time, connection time, first byte time, last byte time, and so on. You'll also be able to view the page size details along with the current page size, percentage of page size change, as well as the previous page size. Now, this particular percentage page size change is basically how much your page size has varied when compared to the previous version. Now, let's move on to the second topic for the day, which is proactively identify and resolve potential user impacting issues through synthetic monitoring. Now, like I was saying earlier, in today's age of instant gratification, end users expect to be able to enjoy a seamless, issue-free experience on your website. Although monitoring the website availability and response time will give you a fair idea of whether your website is up and running or not, you can't know if your users are being able to perform the transactions without fail unless you understand the website's end user experience. This is exactly where synthetic monitoring helps. So here are a few things that synthetic monitoring will help you with. First and foremost, it will help you analyze the website performance from an end user perspective. So synthetic monitoring involves analyzing website performance from an end user perspective, which will help you identify issues that might otherwise go unnoticed. It will let you record complex workflows to keep an eye on important transactions that are taking place on your website. Now, one of the main advantages of this method is that you can dynamically track website availability and performance from your website from your end user's location. Lastly, it will also help you ensure that you're meeting your service level agreements, and it will provide a complete line of sight on your SLAs. Now let's see how Applications Manager's real browser monitoring facilitates synthetic transaction monitoring. Now, Applications Manager's synthetic transaction monitoring feature, also known as the real browser monitor, opens up an actual browser like Firefox or Chrome from multiple geographical locations. It tracks how the elements in your website load from that particular location, and more specifically, the way your users view them. So this will help you simulate business critical processes via Selenium-based scripting of tests. So the first step basically involves a web transaction recorder in which you'll have to record the critical transactions. Every action that we perform while recording, be it hovering, clicking on a particular element, all of these will be saved on a Selenium-based scripting file. The second thing is it will help you run checks from real browsers such as Chrome or Firefox. So Applications Manager then opens up a real browser in which it plays a recorded transaction again to identify in case any error is occurring or not. During the playback, data collection takes place and all performance metrics are then published on your monitoring dashboard. It also helps you take screenshots during the playback in case there are any errors. Now, the main advantage of synthetic transaction monitoring in Applications Manager is that you can test from multiple branch locations. Now, to facilitate monitoring this from multiple branch locations, as we talked about, we make use of the end user monitoring agent. So this is how the agent works. Say, for example, you're hosting an event in your office and you've created a registration form for the same. All the employees need to register for the event, which means employees from all your branch offices should be able to do so without any hassles. To test this critical workflow of filling the form and successfully registering for the event, you can use Applications Manager's Real Browser Monitor. For that, you will need to install the EUM agent in all your branch offices. Then you can record the transaction of filing and registering from your main office. The same transaction will then be performed in all your branch offices using this EUM agent, and then all the data will be sent to Applications Manager. This way, you can check if this particular workflow functions without any errors in all the desired locations. Now, Applications Manager's End User Monitoring Agent basically provide greater visibility into the user experience and help detect potential performance issues with ease. Now, these agents can be installed in multiple branch offices in different cities or in different systems of your end users. All you need is a secure HTTP connection between the agent and your Applications Manager server. Now, let's see how this works. So you can go to our website and download the End User Monitoring Agent for Applications Manager. So depending upon the current build that you're using and on your operating system, you can download the agent here. So once you've downloaded the agent, you will get two options. So under Web Server and Services, I go and add a Real Browser Monitor. So you'll get these two options. Either you can install the Web Transaction Recorder Chrome extension and create a Real Browser Monitor directly, or you can import existing test cases from the Selenium IDE browser plugin. You can do playback using Firefox, Microsoft Edge, or even Google Chrome. So I already have a Web Transaction Recorder here for you. So here we have an API key that needs to be taken. So go under Settings, click REST API, and then copy the REST API key. You can paste the same here and click Login. As you can see here, the Web Transaction Recorder is opened. So either you can record a new transaction or open a recorded transaction or even import a Selenium script. I'm going to choose to record a new transaction. So let me take a URL. I'm going to click Start Recording. So I'm going to be performing some random actions here. I'm hovering and clicking on certain actions. So once I'm done with everything that I wanted to do, I can stop recording the same and click Playback and Save. So once you've done that, you can check out your preferences. So you can check out the page load timeout, how many delays you want between requests, as well as you can select the browser for test playback. It could be Firefox, Edge, or Chrome. And you can also select the agent for test playback. And in case you want any domain to be blocked while loading the particular page, you can specify the same here. Now, in case you have any untrusted certificates that will pop up while loading it back, you can click Accept Untrusted Certificate here, and those will be accepted. And then you can click Do Test Playback. Then it will play back your entire set of actions. So this is how the web transaction recorder extension works. Now you can also import a Selenium test case. Now to do that, all you need to do is to go to your website, click on Inspect, select Performance, and you can begin recording now. So I'm just going to hover and click. Hover and click. And now I'm going to stop the recording. So once I'm done, I'll be getting all of these details, just LCP, FCP, DCL, etc. And I can download this script file and I can upload it there. So this is how you import a Selenium test case. Now I already have a monitor that I've added for you. Let's see what details it shows. So first and foremost, your performance overview tab will give you a picture of your UM agent, and you'll also see the steps page load time based on your location. So here you'll be able to see the average page load time, the transaction time, as well as the page load time of steps. You'll also be able to see each of these steps, and in case you want to compare reports based on page load time, you'll be able to compare for each of the steps. Then you have the waterfall chart here. So this will show how much resource is consuming, how much size in your particular page. Say, for example, images seem to be consuming a lot on this particular page. And you'll also be able to understand why your page is loading slow based upon this waterfall chart. So it will basically tell you your start time, redirection time, domain lookup time, connection time, network latency, download and blocking time, secure connection time, etc. Now with these details, you'll be able to optimize it better. So this is how the real browser monitoring works in Applications Manager. Now let's go on to see some of the use cases where your business would actually need synthetic transaction monitoring. First and foremost, you will need to compare your performance along with your competitors. With synthetic monitoring, you can set up benchmark scenarios to see how your applications are performing over the time. You can also benchmark your company's performance against top competitors within a certain historical time frame or within a specific geographical region. This approach will help you establish a strategic outlook and preserve competitive advantage in the marketplace. Secondly, you'll be able to test out new features. Now, synthetic monitoring will provide a set of baselines and thresholds that will pinpoint any obstacles one is most likely to face while using the application in real time. Thirdly, you'll be able to assess the performance of third-party apps. Now, today's websites increasingly rely on third-party features, right? For cards, ads, customer reviews, web analytics, SEO add-ons, etc. Now, if there is a weak link in any of these any of this chain, one or more of these elements, in case if they are not working correctly, it can adversely impact your site. Now, synthetic monitoring can assist in helping you monitor your third-party applications while also alerting you to potential or real performance degradations and downtime impacts. This helps tremendously in providing line of sight on your service level agreements in order to hold the third-party vendors accountable. Lastly, you'll basically be able to find out issues before your customers do. Now, synthetic monitoring helps you set up baseline tests in order to measure the way your customers will interact with your websites. This type of testing can help you get direct feedback on performance degradation or availability issues. It will also help your team locate the root cause, engage the right experts, and fix issues before they impact end users. Now let's move on to the third topic for the day, which is analyzing real user behavior patterns to gain insight into front-end performance. First of all, what is real user monitoring? Real user monitoring refers to capturing user interactions with a website in real time. This helps you analyze how your end users perceive your website. Now, as businesses go digital and global, their websites are accessed from various devices and from multiple geographies. It is important to provide a consistent user experience across all geographies and devices. But in reality, the user experience could be impacted by various external factors, right? This could include network latency, operational hiccups, double retrieving request resources, slow ISPs, and more. Also, what works in one browser may not work in the other. This is exactly where real user monitoring comes handy. It helps you see why a particular website is down in a particular region and will help you identify if you overlooked any issues with your page load times. It will find out where your issue is and will help you understand why the user abandoned your page in the first place. All this information will help you optimize your website performance for the future. Now, to understand why RAM is more essential, we must understand the drawbacks of synthetic transaction monitoring. Now, synthetic transaction monitoring does not always align with reality. Due to the fact that the nature of traffic used for synthetic testing is not organic but basically synthetic, and it isn't truly representative of a real user experience at any given time, its outcome and performance are rather predictable. Because real synthetic monitoring uses simulated actions, it does not predict the actions of real life customers. Secondly, it consumes a lot of time for incident resolution. When you receive complaints from end users in real time, synthetic monitoring will not tell about what exactly the issue the end user was facing. You would have to painstakingly analyze performance of every business critical transaction and create scripts for synthetic testing in order to uncover possible issues. This can be extremely time consuming. Thirdly, you'll only be able to achieve a narrow view of performance. Because you're not monitoring the actual users, you aren't really getting an idea of how your website is used in the real world. All you have is simply a narrow view of application performance. So how exactly does RUM work in Applications Manager? Now, to facilitate data collection and reporting, you need to download and install our real user monitoring, aka our RUM agent. Now, the RUM agent is deployed in the server where the web application is hosted. Following that, you need to insert a small JavaScript snippet generated by Applications Manager on the header or the footer part of the HTML code of the web application that you want to track. Now, upon loading, the JavaScript snippet will act as a code that collects performance data and constantly transmits it to the RUM agent. The agent then communicates with this JS code and Applications Manager's web client, which usually depicts the captured data. So with the real user monitoring in Applications Manager, you'll be easily be able to analyze the front-end performance across several geographies. You'll also be able to analyze the front-end performance based on ISPs, browsers, and devices to ensure a hazard-free digital experience. You'll also be able to measure end-user satisfaction, isolate web transactions that contribute to poor user experiences of applications, and you'll also be able to gain comprehensive insights into domain resources and user sessions. Additionally, you'll also be able to identify Java errors, which will prevent users from reporting service errors. Finally, you'll also be able to analyze and compare the impact of any new changes that are taking place. Now let's go to the UI to see how this works. You can download the real user monitoring from our website based upon the build of your Applications Manager and your operating system. So once you've downloaded your RUM agent, all you need to do is to add your JavaScript to your web application. So I already have a RAM monitor that I've added for you. So here, as you can see, this is a JavaScript that you need to add. So this particular JavaScript basically acts as a beacon to all the user activities on an application. So once you install the agent and add the JavaScript, your data collection will begin. So here you'll be able to see the summary of your web application performance, including the Abdex score, whether the user is satisfied or tolerating your website performance or is frustrated with it. You'll also be able to see the average response time, page views, and error count. As we discussed before, this will help you understand information across geographies. So you'll be able to view the Abdex score, average response time, page views, error count, etc. You'll also be able to view the response time split based on the redirection time, DNS time, connection time, first byte time, server time, document download time, etc. Finally, you'll be able to view the page views and the throughput. Under geographic data, you'll be able to understand the Amplix score of a particular geography, the average response time, and the page views along with the throughput data of that particular geography. So you can click on it and you can get the details. Now, to get to geographic as well as ISP details in a more accurate manner, you might need to have your ISP API installed in your system. So this ISP tab will give you insight into the response time based on your ISPs. And you'll also be able to see the total count, which is basically the number of hits your ISPs received along with the throughput data. Now, the browser time will help you differentiate your browser based upon your response time based on your browser, which includes Chrome, Edge, Firefox, as well as Firefox iOS. So based upon the browser usage split tip, you'll be able to understand which browser is most commonly used to access your website, and you can prioritize it in order to make the experience better on that particular browser. Then we also have as per device type, which is iOS, Mac, Ubuntu, as well as Windows. And you'll also have the top view port along with the connection type, which connection is performing better. And you'll also be able to see the device memory. Under web pages, you'll be able to view the web transactions in detail. So you can click on a particular transaction and you'll be able to understand the response time summary and the throughput of that transaction, along with the AJAX calls in case if any were made. Then you have the user sessions. So this will basically tell you how many users have accessed your website and whether the user section is active or whether it has expired. You'll also be able to see the average viewing time of your web page as well as the number of pages a user has navigated. You'll also be able to see additional details such as user ID, browser time, device time, country, pages navigated, viewing time, etc. for each of the users. Then we have the resources. So you'll have the first party, third party, as well as CDN resources. You can click on that particular resource in order to view the data in detail. Now, in case you have any AJAX calls that have taken place, you can click on that particular AJAX call in order to view the response time as well as the throughput. You can sort it based upon the total count, throughput, or even the response time. Then you have the JavaScript errors. So in case if any errors have occurred, you'll be able to see how many errors have occurred and how many users it has affected. You'll also be able to see the errors in detail, and you'll be able to see how many times this particular error has occurred. This will also give you details into error instances along with the browser, the web page, the file, as well as the user for which this particular error occurred. So this way, you'll be able to get a holistic picture of how your website is performing to real users, and you'll be able to optimize it based on the same. Now that we've understood both how STM as well as RUM works, let me tell you how they complement each other and provide great benefits when employed on your websites. First and foremost, they help correlate business with performance. Now, synthetic monitoring can provide the performance data that will enable you to pinpoint problems with page load time or network bottlenecks. However, if you want to analyze how web performance impacts business revenue, then you need more than synthetic performance metrics. Since RUM is generated through real user traffic, it provides essential insight into real business metrics such as conversion rates, etc., which can then be correlated with the continuous performance metrics which you've collected via synthetic testing. Secondly, you'll be able to identify problems even before active users arrive. No matter where applications are hosted, problems are bound to occur. Synthetic monitoring is the most effective solution to identify a configuration problem caused by an off-hours maintenance change so that it can be fixed before users begin using your application service in the early morning hours. On the other hand, RUM would be your most helpful tool to measure application responsiveness for each and every live user during your peak hours. Thirdly, it will help you troubleshoot performance outages. Now, combining synthetic and RUM data can make troubleshooting quicker and easier. When synthetic tests fail to trigger a particular alert, data gathered from RUM will show you the real-time impact of end-user experience. Similarly, if RUM data reveals a performance anomaly, then you can use synthetic to replicate the issue by exercising the same transaction across a number of ISPs and geographical locations. Collecting data in this particular way will allow you to triangulate from various vantage points to identify the root cause that may lie in the data path between the end users and their application service. RUM and synthetic can be used simultaneously to verify and deep dive into performance issues. Having said that, let's proceed to the last topic for the day, which is enhancing web page performance to safeguard your brand reputation. So what exactly is a web page analyzer and why would you need it? Now, synthetic monitoring and real user monitoring will give you insight into the performance from an end user perspective. Now, Applications Manager's Web Page Analyzer Monitoring Service will enable you to perform web page analysis, keep track of your web pages, and optimize web page performance using page speed rules and suggestions. It can also help you identify what exactly is slowing down your websites. PageSpeed Insight is an online tool which will help you identify performance best practices on any given website. It will also help you provide suggestions on the page optimizations, and it will also help you understand how you can make your website perform faster. So if we have to talk about Web Page Analyzer in a crux, it provides insight into various key metrics that will help you effectively manage your web pages. Now, during each poll, Applications Manager loads a web page in a browser which is in a cache-less state, and it captures the real-time data of various performance metrics of your web page. So basically, with a web page analyzer, you'll be able to track response time and domain summary, and you'll be able to gain page speed scores and suggestions. You'll be able to track with the quick waterfall chart, and you'll also be able to manage your SSL certificates. Let me quickly show you how it works. So here you can view the web page summary along with the response time summary and your domain summary. So domain summary will provide you details of your IP addresses, number of requests, size, average response time and throughput of your particular domain. You'll also be able to view the network log details along with the page size and as well as the content type. This is a waterfall chart that we were talking about. And then we'll also be able to view the resource details along with the request summary, the number of requests that are taking place, and the size of the particular request type. And you'll also be able to view the health of that particular request. Here, you'll be able to understand the resource size, as this will help you understand how much, for example, here the script is consuming the most data, most of the resources. So with this, you'll be able to optimize the script in order to make the performance of your page better. You'll also be able to get insight into page speeds. Say, for example, they have a particular rule, say avoid bad requests. This will give you a suggestion on why this bad request is occurring. So this is because the following requests are returning either a 404 or a 410 response. So in case these are broken links, you need to fix it, or you can also remove the references to non-existing resources here. So you can perform either of these actions in order to improve the score as well as the grade. So this is how the web page analyzer feature works in Applications Manager. So the next thing that we have is a brand reputation monitor. So like the title says, this helps you maintain the reputation of your particular website. So this particular monitor will track and ensure that your brand reputation is maintained, and it will prevent your website from being blacklisted. You'll also be able to get insights whether it's identified as a suspected malware or a phishing or deceptive or even as an unwanted software. So in case any of your web pages are marked unsafe, you'll get immediately notified of the same. So let me quickly show you. So here you'll be able to see the brand reputation count along with the brand reputation details, the web page URL. So in case if it's suspected as a malware, phishing, a deceptive, or even as an unwanted software, you'll be able to take a look at here. So in case it's suspected to be a threat, you'll be able to see this particular symbol. Now let's have a quick recap of what we discussed in today's session. Today we discussed how we can monitor individual URLs for better user experience and how we can analyze the issues faced in critical workflows. We also saw how synthetic transaction monitoring will help you go beyond the app-only view. And we saw how RUM beautifully complements it and helps you understand the user experience in real time. Lastly, we also saw how we can optimize web page performance with Web Page Analyzer and Brand Reputation Monitor. Thank you for joining today's session. Have a nice day.